Hello, everyone. How are we doing? Okay. So hello. It is such a pleasure to welcome you to the 21st Annual Women in STEM Dinner. It is a privilege to be up here and present and celebrate Women's History Month. Thank you for being here to celebrate. My name is García-Becerra, and I'm your host tonight. I'm a third-year mechanical engineering student here at Santa Clara. I am a part of SHPE. I am the current SHPE Tina's director. However, for this upcoming academic school year, I will now be the co-president. I'm honored to be here and be part of the STEM community with such amazing, powerful, and intelligent women. It is lovely to see so many supportive allies here to help further encourage an environment that fuels the intellectual vitality of women in STEM. We're going to start off the event with having a few people come up, talk. You guys can come up to the podium. So we're going to start off with Denise Ho, who is the Assistant Dean of Student Services in the College of Arts and Sciences. So if you please give her your undivided attention.
All right, I'm going to use this mic because I'm going to be moving around. Hello, everyone. My name is Denise Ho. I'm the Assistant Dean, actually, of Student Engagement. I got a new title change. In the College of Arts and Sciences. If you're wondering, what does that mean? Well, you're not alone. My role is brand new. It's only 6 months old. But at its core, I get the incredible privilege of journeying alongside many of you as you pursue STEM here at SCU. And fun fact about me and part of my job is I love to do four-year course plans. I find it actually really therapeutic. I hear students go, ooh. So if you ever want to map out your courses, send me an email. I'm going to say my email, and you can write it down, dfho@scu.edu. Seriously, I'll be thrilled. I love to look at them. If you're a junior, you're like, how many classes do I have till I graduate? I have double major. Happy to do it. But today, I am your opening act. I am your hype woman because, y'all, I am exhausted. I don't know about you. We're out here, we're fighting, we're grinding, we're healing, and we're showing up every single day. But today, I'm here to hype you up. Because it's about time for me to pour just energy and love into this space. And guess what? You're here, I'm here, we're about to bring the energy, okay? So I'm here to tell you one simple, powerful thing. Take up space. So say it with me. Take up space. Come on, y'all. Say it one more time. Take up space. That's right. Well, now I want us to do it one more time, but I want you to stretch out your arms if you're able to. Stretch out your legs. Feel it in your body and really take out space, okay? Ready? 1, 2, 3. Take up space. That's right. Yes, you do take up space. You take up space, women in STEM. In the world where science is under attack and where data and truth are challenged, we stand our ground. We need to take up space in labs. We need to take up space in classrooms. We need to take up space in leadership. We are here and we belong. And here at SU, in the College of Arts and Sciences in particular, gives us a unique opportunity to blend STEM and humanities. So it's not only about pushing the boundaries of innovation, but to ensure that our work serve humanity. So STEM needs us, and the humanities reminds us why we have to fight for it. The discoveries, the breakthrough, the cures, they mean nothing without the human impact. Science and technology drive progress, but ethics, empathy, and justice shape its purpose. Here we just don't ask what's possible, we ask what's right. So now I want us to make some noise. And you're gonna say it with me, I am a STEM woman, hear me roar. And if, I love it. And so you're gonna say that. And if you're an ally, you're gonna scream it too, okay? You're gonna scream, I am a STEM woman, hear me roar. And we're gonna say it 3 times. And each time we're gonna get louder, louder and louder. And after the third one, you're just gonna get loud, okay? And I wanna hear it with conviction, all right? And it's however you want. If you wanna do a battle cry from your heritage, or you just wanna pound your fist on the table, or stomp on the floor, or do both, we're gonna make some noise. We want to let the world know we are here and we're not going anywhere, okay? And so if you want, you should get your phone ready, clear out your photos so you can have enough storage to film this. But yes, go ahead, get your phones out, don't be shy. Because we're going to capture this moment. Let's film it and show the world just how loud and proud and unstoppable we are, okay? So remember the prompt is, I am a STEM woman, hear me roar. Got it? We got that, right? Yes. We're all here at Santa Clara, we're very smart. Yes, okay. And we're going to say it 3 times, and the 3rd time we're just going to go, ah! Just go whatever. Let it out, if all that stuff, okay? Ready? On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. I am a STEM woman, hear me roar. I am a STEM woman, hear me roar. I am a STEM woman, hear me roar. Make some noise! Ah! Woo! I don't know about y'all, but I'm pretty sure they heard that all the way to the East Coast. That was so amazing. Do we want to do it again, or that was good? Whoa, someone said yes, so that means all right. We're going to just do it once. I'm a STEM woman, hear me roar, and we're going to yell one more time. Okay, ready? I am a STEM woman, hear me roar. Make some noise! Woo! That's amazing, because when they try to make you feel alone, when they try to make you feel small, that's when they want you to feel hopeless. But play this video and remember your battle cry from today. But look around this room. You are not alone. You are brilliant. You are resilient, and you belong here. I want to take this really great battle cry energy, and I would like to invite Dr. Pascal Guiton to invite you to a special event that's happening on Friday at noon. Let's give her a hand as she walks up. Woo! Yeah! Come on down!
Hi, everybody. Are you ready to stand up for science? Yes. Yes, that's right. We're ready to stand up for science. And on Friday, March 7th, here at SCU, from noon to 1:30, we are going to stand up for science outside SCDI. We need to tell them that science is important. It is a pillar for social, economic, political progress, and we are not going anywhere, and we are not going to lay down. Stand up for science, right? You with me? Woo! That's right. March 7th, Friday, noon to 1:30.
Thank you. I will be there. I hope to see you all there. And so, thank you, everyone, for inviting me into your space. This is your hype woman. If you ever need hyping, just come find me. I will hype you up. That is what I love to do. But thank you for inviting me to your space, and SU is not complete without you here. So thank you very much.
Our next speaker is Casey LaQuada. She's a part of Bronco Racing, which is the Santa Clara Formula SAE group. So please welcome her up.
Good evening. My name is Casey LaQuada. I'm a senior mechanical engineering student here at SCU, and I've had the privilege of serving as a student leader for Santa Clara's Formula Society of Automotive Engineers, also known as Formula SAE, since 2022. I started off as the social media manager, and in 2023, I was promoted to co-captain, which is the position that I'm proud to still hold today. Like many engineering teams, our team was and is predominantly male. There have even been quarters where I was the only female lead on our team. Even though I was voted into my role, some people felt that someone like me wouldn't be a good fit for co-captain. It often feels like we have to work twice as hard to prove we deserve our positions and to earn the same respect that others are given without question. We're often told what we can't and shouldn't do, but like Nike's Super Bowl ad said, when we're told we can't, that's exactly why we should. If I had listened to the voices that doubted someone like me, our team wouldn't have achieved what we have. For example, we wouldn't have raised the most money any School of Engineering club has raised on Day of Giving 2 years in a row. In 2023, we raised $5,000, and in 2024, we more than doubled that, bringing in $13,000 on Day of Giving. Despite the challenges, I keep pushing forward because I truly believe in the future of Santa Clara's Formula SAE team. We are the only hands-on automotive project on campus, and I know we have the potential to become a cornerstone program within the School of Engineering. To my fellow women in STEM, I hope you too keep pushing for what you believe in. Don't let anyone define what you are capable of. Your voice is powerful, your ideas are valuable, and your leadership is needed. Thank you.
Next up, we have Sahana Kumar, who is here for the AI Collaborate.
Hi, my name is Sahana. I'm a junior at Santa Clara, and my primary majors are computer science and French in the Arts and Sciences School. And what I find really valuable about Santa Clara and kind of the space that I've been able to take in this environment and this university is I'm studying 4 totally, completely different things. And they don't really have much overlap. I'm also studying political science and philosophy. And the reason why I'm studying all of these things and the opportunities I was given at Santa Clara is just so that I am able to take that interdisciplinary action and put it into something for my future. And so that's what I did at AI Collaborate. I'm one of the vice presidents of AIC, and my big shtick is making sure that people in the humanities know that AI is affecting them, and more importantly, they can affect AI and just emerging technologies in general. And the biggest thing that I have noticed when it comes to diversity on campus and inclusion is Santa Clara does a good job at having diversity in spaces. What I think that our student body and in general our school should do better is once you have the diversity there, having the diversity have a voice. So for example, I held an ethics debate last week and we hit 20% for the men to women ratio, and that was the best event we had ever had. But that's still so much progress from a year ago when there wasn't any women in the club at all. And now that we're in this club and we have this space and we have some diversity, the next important step, which I think is often overlooked when it comes to DEI or in general diversity initiatives on campuses, is to make sure that the minority voices know that they have something important to say and that they should be able to say it. And I think, thank you, and in general, when it comes to women in STEM, being there is a very, very important feat. Once you're there, once you're taking the initiative and you're studying and you're working hard, remember you have stuff to say because it's super, super important and people want to hear it. So that's just a reminder as an undergrad and my lower classes in my freshman and sophomore year, I don't think I voiced what I wanted to say enough. And I just get sick of people continually stomping on my ideas and overlooking me, not out of explicit sexism, but because that's a society we live in, and reminding each other, like, we are here to listen to other people, and we are here to listen to everybody. So for men and allies, that is also a call for you to look at your own internal biases, realize that the people you hang out with tend to be in the majority groups, and investigate your biases and try to talk to people and learn something new and change your perspectives. Because I don't think I would have had that opportunity without other people telling me that, and I think it's really important for women to hear that all the time and for allies to hear that. So thank you.
Next up, we have Trisha Ganesh. She is representing ACMW.
Hi everyone, my name is Trisha Ganesh and I am a third-year computer science student at Santa Clara University. On campus, I'm part of an organization called ACMW. That was ACMW. ACMW is short for the Association for Computing Machinery, the women's chapter on campus, and we are dedicated to empowering women in computer science. So ACMW provides a variety of opportunities for students within the field of computer science, and we are open to students who are just interested in computer science. You don't have to be an actual computer science major. And some of the work that we've done in the past is something I'm really proud of. So in the past, we've held workshops related to introducing students to Git, teaching them about the principles of cloud computing, databases, and machine learning, and teaching them about pointers in C and C++. We also invite women from technical leadership positions to come and talk about their experiences within the tech industry, as well as being able to inspire young female college students. And ACMW also has a program called Cyber Sisters, where we pair underclassmen with upperclassmen, and sort of like a mentor-mentee program where the upperclassmen serve as mentors, helping students, the underclassmen, navigating challenges within college, such as taking hard college classes, and advice on internships and their past experiences. And I'm a mentor for Cyber Sisters, and it's been a really rewarding experience working with my mentees and giving them valuable insight as to how to deal with rejection when applying for jobs, and being able to handle rejection and not being deterred, because computer science is a difficult but rewarding field, so it's important to be able to serve as a motivating mentor for students that I work with. And ACMW also helps organize Hack for Humanity, which is one of the largest hackathons at Santa Clara. It's held every winter, and students work on technical projects where they can showcase their technical skills. And they also have an opportunity to work and network with industry professionals. So ACMW is able to provide networking opportunities for students and making that accessible for students. We also take part in the Grace Hopper Conference, which is the largest computer science conference for women interested in computer science, and we provide networking opportunities with companies, and students can participate in various technical workshops. And being a part of ACMW has been a rewarding experience for me, because not only have I been able to develop my team building skills, I've also been able to become more technically adept and have been able to build my self-confidence. One of the reasons I joined ACMW was because I believe that it's important to empower people to take risks, especially within the field of computer science. Computer science is a vast field with a variety of opportunities, and it's oftentimes easy to lose track or get lost with what you may want to pursue, because there's so many different fields. So ACMW is able to provide different, I would say, ideas for people for students so that they can figure out what field and they want to actually pursue and where they want to start. Another reason why being on ACMW has been so powerful and empowering for me is because I have a younger sister who also wants to pursue computer science. And I know that she looks up to me and she watches my every move, basically. We've always been very alike. Whatever I wear, she wears. And I want to be a good role model for my younger sister and embody traits such as bravery, confidence, competence, all of which ACMW has taught me. So thank you.
Next up is Chris Shob and Gabby Robles for ideas.
Hello, everyone. Gabby was not able to be here tonight, but if you don't know, hi, I'm Chris Shob. I am a second-year computer science and engineering student, and I am one of the co-chairs for Ideas, with Gabby being the other co-chair. And if you don't know what the Ideas Coalition is, we are the Inclusion and Diversity in Engineering and STEM Coalition. For those that don't know about who Ideas is a coalition made up of ACM, which I am the liaison for, ACMW, which just spoke, EWB, NSBE, Rho Psi Eta, SHPE, SWE, Theta Tau, and we welcome even more STEM organizations to join us. Our mission is to ensure that all students, regardless of their background, have equitable access to the resources and opportunities needed to thrive in STEM at SCU. The Original Ideas Coalition was instrumental in the creation and design of DISC, and today we continue to build on that foundation, fostering a community where everyone belongs. Events like this are powerful reminders that success in STEM is not defined by gender, background, or societal expectations. Anyone from any walk of life can and should have the opportunity to pursue their passion and excel in their chosen fields. As a non-binary, feminine-presenting individual, I know firsthand the challenges of navigating spaces where people question whether I belong simply because of my gender or my chromosomes. The fight for true acceptance of women and non-binary people in STEM is ongoing, and too often, when women or non-binary people enter a field in large numbers, it is suddenly perceived as easier or less rigorous. These biases persist, but we cannot allow them to diminish our brilliance, our resilience, or our rightful place in STEM. The truth is, progress and innovation thrive when built by diverse minds. To create a future that serves everyone, we need the architects of that future to reflect the full spectrum of human experiences. Our voices, our perspectives, and our ideas matter. So to all the women and non-binary people in this room, keep pushing forward. You are just as capable, just as deserving, and just as brilliant as anyone else in this field. And know that Ideas is here to listen and support and work alongside you to make SCU a more inclusive and welcoming space for gender diverse people in STEM. Thank you.
Next up, we have Miriam Ayed, who's from the Graduate Program School of Engineering.
Good evening, everyone. If you don't know me, or maybe if you haven't seen me around yet, my name is Miriam Ayed, and I work as the Graduate Records Coordinator at the Graduate School of Engineering. First and foremost, I just want to say it's incredibly encouraging to see so many of you here at the annual Women in STEM dinner. For a long time, STEM fields in general have been male-dominated. And still today, women are underrepresented. And even though about 20% of U.S. engineering graduates are women, only 15 of those engineers are actually within the field. Fewer than 4% of engineering bachelor's degrees in the United States are awarded to women of color. So these figures tell us just why we need representation, mentorship, and support. And we need to not only encourage women to enter these fields, but we need to encourage them to succeed at them as well. And although Stacy Tinker, our Assistant Dean for Graduate Enrollment Management and Student Affairs, wasn't able to attend, she wanted to share the following message with you. Women in STEM are shattering boundaries, defining tomorrow, and inspiring generations to follow. Keep pushing limits and know that you are creating a world where anything is possible. And I want to keep this short, so I want to remind you that what you are doing, it matters. Your presence in these fields, it matters. And your voices, your ideas, and your contributions, that's going to shape the future of engineering, and it's going to shape the future of science. So keep innovating and know that you belong in these rooms and that you belong in engineering. So thank you all and enjoy the evening.
Next up, we have Veronica Flores and Izzy Hernandez speaking for the Office of Multicultural Learning.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I'm Veronica Flores. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm majoring in computer science and engineering. And this is Isabella Hernandez, pronouns she, her, a graduate student in counseling psychology. We are both student inclusion educators at the Office for Multicultural Learning, which also includes the Rainbow Resource Center. And we're honored to be here tonight as part of this year's Women in Engineering / STEM dinner. As part of the OML, our mission is to support, uplift diverse communities at Santa Clara University and to create spaces where everyone can thrive and be their authentic selves. Being in the School of Engineering as a Latina woman has been hard at times to find community. However, I'm very thankful to have spaces like the OMA and RC where I can go to. The Rainbow Resource Center is committed to maintain an inclusive and welcoming environment for individuals of all sexual orientations and gender identities, and we believe in centering and uplifting identities that have been historically marginalized. We are proud to offer spaces where you can explore your own identity, learn about others, and advocate for those who are often overlooked. We want you to know, especially to the women, femme, intersex, non-binary, and gender non-conforming folks here tonight, that you have a place here at SCU.
Our doors are always open whether you want to learn more about social justice, engage in community building, or discover how to support others. You're always welcome to visit us at the Office for Multicultural Learning at 832 Market Street, just behind Swig Residence Hall, or Rainbow Resource Center in Benson Memorial Center. We would also love for you to join us at one of our programs in the future, where we host workshops and events focused on social justice, identity, and inclusion. Our SIEs are always working to bring people together, and we'd love to see you all there. Stay connected with us on Instagram, social media, or check out our weekly newsletters made by Veronica Flores to stay updated on our upcoming events. It's inspiring to see all of you here tonight. You are all part of a critical movement for inclusion and representation in the STEM fields, and we're excited to support you as you continue to pave the way. Thank you.
Our last speakers for right now are Allison Kemp and Brian Wiebe for the Sioka Center Student Advisory Board.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for coming. My name's Brian Wiebe.
Hi, I'm Allison Kemp, and we're the co-chairs of the Sioka Center Student Advisory Board.
So if you haven't heard what the the Sioka Center is, it's a center for innovation and entrepreneurship on campus. And our goal is to instill the entrepreneurial mindset across campus for all disciplines, engineering, arts, and business. We house other programs like the Innovation Fellows, Beach, Bronco Venture Accelerator, the Business Pitch Competition, and we're so proud to be sponsors of dinners like this.
Yeah, and in innovation and entrepreneurship, gender diversity is crucial for developing solutions that meet the needs of all, as diverse perspectives drive more inclusive and effective problem solving. Empowering women is essential as we bring unique insights, leadership styles, and innovative approaches that enhance collaboration and long-term success. And the Sioka Center is dedicated to fostering women-driven innovation across its programs, and I invite all of you to explore these opportunities at the Sioka Center. And finally, we'd like to give a huge thank you to Ricky for hosting this event. And also DISC for organizing this event, and all of you for coming. So thank you so much.
Let's give one more round of applause to all the people that spoke right now. So dinner is ready for everyone to enjoy, and we will be back with the faculty/alumni panel in 10 to 15 minutes. Okay, hello everyone. We're going to get started on the faculty alumni panel. So first up, we're going to have Dr. Maria Kirarini. Sorry. She's an electrical and computer engineering at David Packard Jr. Faculty Fellow and in Human-Machine Interaction and Innovation Research Group Leader. Next up, we're going to have Dr. Pascal Guiton. She's an assistant professor of biology, co-founder of BIPOC and Parasitology, and the Alliance of the Black Community in Higher Education. Next up, we're going to have Dr. Desiree Forsyth, assistant professor of biology. And then we're going to have our alumni who graduated in 2022, Luisa Mantilla, mechanical engineering, works at biotech. Hello, welcome. Is this on? Put them on very eventually. You guys all do?
1, 2.
Hello. Okay. So, first question, what made you decide for your major and work in the STEM field? You can go first.
Okay. Let's see. So I studied mechanical engineering, and I started when I was little. I just always loved building things. I would go into the recycle bin at home and always have dirty feet, because I would always go to the garage without shoes on and go through the recycle bin and just put things together and create and build. So I think growing up, I always kind of wanted to be an inventor. And then I realized that inventor is engineer, so here I am.
Yeah, I think that's a complicated question for me. So I'm first generation from Kansas, and I think the only thing I knew really going to college was to be a veterinarian, and I find that's a common experience with first generation students, the sort of focused career paths. But when I went, they cut open an animal on the table, and I passed out, and so I knew that was no longer the field for me. And so I bounced around. So I did biology. I thought I was going to be a ranger because I liked horses. That would be cool. And then somebody, grabbed me and got me into research. Love that. We'll talk more about our journeys, as we go through the evening. But started and stopped a PhD 3 times. I've had a wide variety of things. And so finally I found my passion in STEM education, biology education. But it took me a really long time to get there.
For me, it was a plant, l'orgueil de Chine. In middle school, we had to create an herbarium, and this plant is very common in the Ivory Coast, and I never paid attention to it until creating this plant and this herbarium. And discovering what was inside the plant, looking at it in more detail it opened my eyes to biology. And so I thought I was going to become a botanist until I discovered microbes. And I absolutely love microbes, especially the microbe that cause disease, because it fascinates me. I want to understand how one little virus that you don't see a piece of genetic material can basically bring us to our knees. And this is why I do what I do. I love to spend time looking at them, studying them. And I also love teaching science. I love to share what I love. So combining teaching and research, specifically microbiology research, is really what drives me and makes me happy.
So for me, I grew up in Greece, which means that when you are in high school, you have to give national level exams that everyone in the country give at exactly the same time, exactly the same exam that comes from the government, which means that when you are in the top 2% of the country, you either go to be electrical and computer engineer in National Technical University of Athens, or you will be going to medical school in Athens. So basically, I scored really well, and I was like, okay, which of the 2 choices I have? I knew I didn't want to be a medical doctor, and I didn't really understand what engineering really is, but I was like, yeah, sure, let's go for it. So, I learned as I went through.
Awesome. How did you end up at SU?
I'm from the Bay Area. I grew up in Gilroy, so I was pretty close. So I had heard about it, and I was touring lots of different schools. And something about Santa Clara spoke to me. It was the smaller classes, just like the general vibe that I got on campus. And from talking to people, I felt like even before I started, I could tell that I was going to be well supported, and I was going to be supported by the people around me and faculty, and just in an environment that was not as cutthroat, I think, at some of the other colleges that I was looking at. And that was one of the main things that stood out to me and made me choose SEU.
Yeah, I can bounce off of that too. As far as I felt like the environment when I came here was just something I've never experienced before. But when I was on the job market, I was interviewing in many different places, and I didn't choose SU. Christelle Sabatier, who's the chair of the biology department, told me to apply because she saw me give a talk somewhere, and so I threw my sort of hat in the ring. But as soon as I came to campus, I was sold. And so the environment here is so unique and so wonderful. And my work looks at systems of oppression, and I knew what was on the forefront coming. And so being in California at a place that I could do that type of research was really important for me too. But yeah.
SU is my second shot at being an academic. So when I finished my postdoc, I was a professor at another school that was a public school, and things didn't work out very well over there. And so I almost left academia, and then I talked to Christelle Sabatier, and she said, hold that thought. And so there was a search, and I went through the regular process of interviewing. And like she said, I absolutely love the department. People are very genuinely kind. They genuinely want to see you succeed. And the vibe was just, okay, Pascal, give it another shot. It's a different system. It's a private university, smaller class sizes. It seems like the department is a good environment to work. Maybe you're not going to be as miserable as you were for 5 years. And so I gave it a try, and that's how I ended up here, taking a gamble, if you will, at academia. And so if this doesn't work, peace out. I'm out of here. But yeah.
So for me, I was, after I finished my PhD in Germany, I got an offer to go to do a postdoc at University of Texas at Arlington. And, as I was never before in the US, I thought whenever you go in the US, it's exactly the same thing. No, that's not the case. So after I spent 2 years at UT Arlington, while we had to deal with a pandemic as well, I had to interview during the pandemic, and then I couldn't visit any of the campuses that I had interviews. So at the very end, I remember I put down the offers that I got, and then I was like, okay, I need to think what would make me happy. And then I realized the only chair that I actually talked and connected with was Shoba, that's sitting right here. And the second thing was there was another colleague, Alex Zetsevich, that the moment I talked to him, I said, I cannot make a decision. And he was like, you need to figure out what you want to do and what will make you happy. And I could feel that this is a department that I can come and I can be happy and I can be successful. So thank you.
Next question is, what does it mean to you to be a woman in STEM? We don't have to go in any specific order. If you just have an answer, go right ahead.
I can start because I think it's easy. I never knew I was a woman in STEM until I came to the US. Because in Europe, really, that's not a thing that they would tell you. Yes, I knew I'm, 1 or 10% of female students in electrical computer engineering. I knew when I was doing my PhD, maybe we were 4 or 5 were doing PhD in the building that were females, but it never really came to my head that there is something different about it until the moment I came to the US and everyone started talking about it. So from my perspective, at least as a student, I never felt any different because I didn't know any different.
For me, being a woman in STEM really equates to being a role model and a mentor. I didn't have, in my family, they went to college and all that, but nobody's a scientist, so they don't really fully understand what it means to do science. And my aunts and all that, all they care about is me having babies. And they're like, oh, you need to start being a lab, you need to have babies. But for me, it's basically telling young people, young generation, that there's a different path. You can be a scientist and be fully a woman and do everything that women are supposed to do, or choose not to do any of that. You are free. So being a woman in STEM is sort of being free to explore your own ideas and go the path that you've chosen without any restraint. You don't put those restraints on yourself. Somebody else can put it on you, but you have the choice to break that. And so being able to communicate that to younger generation is sort of how I see myself. The woman part of it, like she said, we don't wake up in the morning and say, oh, I'm a woman in STEM, or I'm a black woman in STEM. It's people force you into those boxes, and you find yourself having to you are in the box, but at the same time, you try to get yourself out of the box because you don't want to be boxed. There's more to you than being a woman. There's more to you than being a black person. There's more to you than being a teacher, et cetera, et cetera. And so you don't want to be boxed, but at the same time, we have a role to play. There's not a lot of us in STEM, so we just have to pave the path and continue what our foremothers started. Yeah.
I agree with what you said about being a woman in STEM is about being a mentor and a role model. And, we've come so far in the past 50 years, but there's also so much more that we can also do. So even from, when I started in undergrad, which wasn't that long ago, to the newer classes, I just really see myself as wanting to be that role model for the incoming students as well. And just making, like they were saying kind of in the beginning presentations, making a footprint, making yourself be heard. If there's not a woman in a certain field or in a certain role, don't be scared to be that person and take space and let your voice be heard, because there's a lot of important things for us to say.
I think being a woman in STEM has changed for me over time, like what that means. And I like the sort of example of like when did you first kind of realize, that you were a woman in STEM? And for me, thinking back on it, maybe not the safest thing, but in my undergrad, I was a research student over the summer, and I had transects across like 8 states that went from the Midwest to the South, where I just went out and collected crickets every 100 some odd kilometers or something by myself. And I think that experience, running into people that were, like I was close to their farmland, or just getting yourself into situations that as a young person that I probably shouldn't have gotten myself into. So I think that was the first time that I really thought about like my safety about being a woman in STEM. And I think for me over time, it's been sort of what being a woman in STEM is being a fighter, is being somebody that's resistant constantly, whether it's a fighter in the way that I'm talking to other faculty, whether it's a fighter in the way that I do my curriculum different, whether it's a fighter of being at the forefront of policy changes that are happening. And so when I got to Santa Clara, not that everything is perfect, but I've also like lost a little bit of who I am, because I don't have to fight every day. And it's a wild reorganization of what it means to be a woman in STEM for me. So I'm trying to figure that out as the weeks go on. But I think it's an evolving thing that happens for sure.
This place is transforming in an interesting way. It's really like you come in with certain idea, and then you start interacting with people, and you're like, wait a minute, I need to relax a bit. And it's very uncomfortable to do that relaxation, but hopefully we'll get there.
Okay, next up, how, if at all, would you say your cultural identity, along with being a woman, have played a role in your upbringing and decisions?
I can go. I was born in France, and I grew up in the Ivory Coast. And in the Ivory Coast, I am considered mixed, métis. And, so I grew up being métis, not being a black person, until I came to America, where it felt like I had to choose between my background. And so I chose. I'm a black woman, and I love being a black woman in America and in the world. And so that has really, I think, once I understood what it meant to be black in America, it came with all its pain and joy, and I literally embraced that. And so I carry that identity with me in my work. I like to see students that look like me. I like to make sure that I don't ruin it for everybody else. I'm the black woman faculty hired in the biology department here at Santa Clara, so there's some sort of pressure for me that I put on myself. Nobody's putting it on me. I put that on myself as Pascal, don't mess it up for the next person. And so it's, being a black woman in academia, in the world in general, is not easy. And in academia, it has its own challenges. And we may talk about challenges later, but it's really colored a lot of what I do and how I walk. I used not to think about it at all until, somebody was like, white guy, Harvard educated, I got a fellowship from the NIH that is to support minority in STEM, and he comes to me in front of everyone and is like, well, I'm Irish, I should be able to apply for that too. And so it's little things like that forces you to always think about, okay, I'm a black woman in STEM. I cannot behave like that doesn't exist, And so I wish I could. I wish I could just think about being black happy all the time, because we have black joy. We are happy people. But then, societal pressure, societal, issues or whatever, the way people view you or the way people put you again in boxes forces you to try to get out of the box while also making sure that everybody else who is in that box is successful with you. And so that's how I approach my work. A lot of time you're the first one, usually you're only the first one, and it's exhausting to be always the only one. I was the only one the only black person in my postdoc lab, the only black person in my PhD lab, at least for a while, and it is very exhausting. And so you carry that burden with you, and at times you have to let it down. So I don't know. That's how it shapes what I do. It's with me all the time. You cannot let it go. And like I said, we'll talk about challenges, and I can explain how that really was hard.
Yeah, I can go next. I think the culture. So I'm from the Midwest. I'm from Kansas. I come from a very conservative family. They are still a very conservative family. I am queer, and so my culture identity was really interesting mixture of, oppressed being queer and being a woman, but also oppressor being white. And so sort of navigating those identities and the privileges that came with some of them and the disadvantages that came with others. My research focuses on systems of oppression and focuses on culture of science and STEM in general. And all of those experiences that I've had on both sides of that, sort of oppressed, oppressor, have really informed the questions that I'm asking and the way that I interact with students and faculty and staff, and how we go about building communities in research and in teaching. And so I think without those experiences, Pascal, you mentioned like pain as well as joy, like without those experiences, I would not be the person I am today. And so in some ways I'm grateful for them, but I'm hoping that we can create a future, broadly, but also in science specifically, that people can just experience joy in the future and not maybe so much pain. But I use those cultural experiences to really inform my work.
Yeah, I can go. I'm Latina, but I realize I am white passing. But I'm a field service engineer. I'm a support manager now, but I was a field service engineer at my company. That was my previous position. And when I was hired, I was the first woman and the youngest one on all of our global teams for this role. So obviously starting, I felt very isolated, and our role was traveling to different biotech companies. And I would always try to be like, okay, how can I act and maybe show that I'm not as young as I am, or not show that I'm like Latina or any of this, just because you're trying to, fit a mold and just assimilate to what's around you. But I think that being in that position, I kind of lost myself, and I had a moment where I was like, this is not who I am, and I'm at this role and I'm doing a great job, and my managers are seeing that I'm doing a great job, and I was really lucky that they really supported me and lifted my voice and let me, join presentations earlier on or teach the other teams other things. So because I think that confidence that I had within my company of other people believing in me, I was able to kind of find myself again and really embrace my culture as well. And while I was on campus as well, there was a similar moment. I'm mechanical engineering is a lot of men and not that many Latinos as well. So I found with SHPE actually like my community there, and just all of us having the shared experiences really helped me embrace who I am and use it as a strength.
So I think for me, I grew up in an area of Athens that usually I don't recommend anyone usually going, because it's one of the areas that it's full of drugs, human trafficking, and it's actually, if you're not local, it's not the safest to go. So I grew up in a family that no one else is an engineer. When I actually started engineering, I didn't know what exactly I was doing. And I remember my mom was saying, I was trying to read some physics. And my mom was like, oh, I wish I could help you, but unfortunately I cannot, and I'm so sorry. And I was like, it's okay, I will figure it out. The point was, however, that in my university there were 58 male professors and 2 female professors. And I remember how bad the male professors were talking about the two female professors. One of them had, while she was doing her PhD in electrical computer engineering, at the same time she finished medical school. She was one of the smartest persons I knew. And some of the other male professors were coming and talking bad in front of the students. So I remember I turned to my friends, I was like, you know what, I will never be a professor. So here I am a professor, but all of my students know that I do not allow anyone to call me a professor. Usually I say, use my name, or if you feel uncomfortable, you can say Dr. Maria, but usually I do not go with the professor title. The reason is exactly that, because I don't want to be what my professors were in Greece. So I think culture plays an important role of how things shape. So it's kind of like interesting, I think, because every single one of us had a different story to share. And that's, I think, important to remember.
This next one has to do with challenges. So what challenges have you faced? Do you still face them? And how are you overcoming them?
Quit. No, I quit the other place. That's how I overcame those ones. Any of you want to start that one?
I can't follow that. Yes, but I can start. So one thing I kind of like here is that when something happens, we can actually talk about it. So I can share a story. I don't think any of my students are around, so that's okay. So I was introducing one method in logic design class that was the one hot approach. And because I said one hot approach and I said with a bit of an accent or whatever, everyone started jiggling around and saying weird stuff. And I remember I only had 2 female students in the class. So I got angry. I just turned around. I remember I just looked at everyone. I was like, do you know why engineering is hard for women? Because of this type of behavior. And I still remember everyone just stopped jiggling. Everyone just looked. And the 2 girls in my class stand up and start clapping. After that, I did have one student that wrote in the test, I did not read this method because it sounded sexist. I was like, that doesn't count. But I think it was an interesting approach because after that, a lot of students came and apologized for the behavior. So I think and that's what I kind of appreciate. If there is something that is done that's actually wrong, and we recognize it and we explain, I think that's helpful for everyone to learn.
One of the major challenge for me was trying to get over this idea that people think I'm in the position I am because of the color of my skin and not because of my talent. And I didn't think about that until it was reported to me that my former chair said, oh, don't worry about Pascal, she's black, they'll give her tenure anyway. And that is so insulting at so many levels because you work hard to be where you are. You sacrifice a lot to be where you are. And for us professors, tenure is sort of like something we aim for. We work really hard for it. So for somebody to say, don't worry, it doesn't matter what she does, even if she sucks, they'll give her tenure anyway, totally removes the confidence you have in yourself, a lot of it. And so it takes a long time to try to rebuild that. I mean, I'm still emotional just thinking about it because it's not gone yet. It takes a long time to get over that and to find your voice again because you feel like you don't belong. You don't belong in the space, you don't belong, you're not supposed to be a professor, you're not supposed to be there. To the point where I remember when I'm in class, I started shortening my lecture so that I don't speak as much and I make the student do a lot of exercise because I feel like what I have to say will be taken as, oh, she's stupid or something like that, right? So that's that, and what that does, it's you cannot talk to anybody about it because a lot of the people around you don't look like you. So you become isolated. And you just close up. You just get into yourself and, oh, sorry. I hate talking about this. I wrote it down so that I wouldn't cry. But it can be very isolating to be a Black woman in STEM, Black woman in academia. One of my first student evaluations, she talked about accent. One of my first student evaluation that I got, it was, oh, go back from Africa already. We don't understand what she's saying. I don't even think my accent is that thick. Come on. And so all of that, makes you behave like somebody you are not when you walk the halls of academia. So you have this mask that you put on, and then when you get home, you're so exhausted, you start forgetting who you are little by little. And how I overcame this were mentors and my husband who were there to remind you the path, the journey that you've been through, and that nobody did that for you. You did it for yourself. So basically remembering your own achievements, remembering to celebrate what makes you you. And it takes a lot of work to undo some of the damage that people do to you.
As a Greek, I have to give you a hug, you know.
Thanks, Pascal. I think both of you were talking to about just like the amount of emotional labor that it takes, which then comes into physical toll on the body as well, right? And so when we talk about why there's not so much representation in different STEM fields, it's exhausting. It's exhausting to just be. And then on top of that, to do something successfully takes even more effort, right? And so those challenges just definitely exist. And I think when I first started, not knowing systems of institutions, like I didn't know what I wanted to do or be, and so a lot of it was pivoting. So I think I'm an expert pivoter at this point. Is one of the ways to overcome a challenge is just to quit, to try something different. And so I started a PhD in Tallahassee under a mentor I won't name, and we were told things like, you should eat one meal a day to save time, and you should, be in the lab from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., and then you can have your dinner time, but then we have to go out collecting until 1 a.m., and that's over and over again. And I lasted like 4 months, I think, and just quit. And then went back to do science ed, which I thought was much more interesting to me, but I think I was so burnt out that I quit that PhD. And then I went to government, and that was way worse than higher ed, so I came back. And so finally finished the PhD on the third try. And so just, continuously pivoting and figuring out that it is okay to follow the things that interest me. I don't have to follow a path that people think that I should follow. And so, a lot of pivoting and a lot of learning. I think I'm somebody who has a lot of, there's a better, probably more academic term for it, but like spite inside. And so just trying to figure out a way to utilize that in a way that is productive for others and not harmful. And so figuring out how I could be somebody who could change systems and who could work with community and who can give back. I think that was a big overcoming of a lot of the sort of built up anger and frustration of all these experiences that I had been having, my whole life. And so, lots of pivoting and therapy. That's good. I think everybody should be thinking about that. So.
I can go. I think one of my challenges that I've had, especially just recently graduating and moving into the workforce. So in my role, I've kind of said it already, in my previous role, I bounced around to a lot of different biotech companies. So I was working with a lot of different groups of people. It wasn't always the same coworkers that were always around me. But by seeing all these different people, you're obviously going to see the good and the bad. So it would be me coming up, I'm going to do service on their biotech instrument. I had my tool case and all these big tools that, mostly it wasn't my stature doing them. Or even these instruments weren't even built and designed for a woman engineer to service them. So one of the main things for our instruments at work is you have to take off this big cover. And for the longest time, I couldn't do it. It wasn't created with the intention of thinking, oh, how can maybe a woman or someone of a smaller stature be able to do this? So I ended up learning it. That was fine. But going to the different customer sites, sometimes they definitely got looks or comments like, oh, you're the engineer? Really? Is there someone else here? Are you sure? Yep, it's me. So in the beginning, it was very... I felt very pushed down and isolated. And also my own self voice was often always almost the worst one. Even though no one else was telling me, in my head I would just say, I don't deserve this, I don't belong here, there's no one around here that looks like me. So that was the hardest part, I think. But eventually I just kind of really had to work on a mental shift and take this. I'm yes, I'm the only one, and yes, I'm different, but I'm going to use this as fuel to push me forward. And what the words were that I kind of told myself were, let's prove them wrong. Let's prove these people wrong. Let's prove my own voice is wrong, that I can do this. And I was just able to turn it into energy, which allowed me to push through and be successful.
I want to add, also being in STEM, the reality is some of the research that we do require money. So one big challenge is to get grants. Right? So that is a real challenge in STEM, trying to get the money to do the research. And right now, we are in uncertain times, right, where they're slashing the money for science and things like that. So that also adds another level of stress because, there's a study that came out. Black people tend to not be funded as much as people that are not black for whatever reason. For whatever reason that happens. It's, I don't know the reason, let me not tell them, but it's also a reality that the way the field is also structured has some inequities embedded into it that we have to deal with in addition to all the microaggression and everything else that exists.
Racism, But to follow up on something you said as well, Pascal, I think community is such an important component of overcoming challenges. I think that without my community of peers, without community here at Santa Clara over the past few weeks, months, this has been a wild time for many of us. I think it would have not been possible. And you also mentioned your husband as well, and having a partner who always props you up and celebrates your successes is something that is fairly new for me, and that's been really instrumental in being able to keep going. And so finding whatever sources of those community are it's really, really impactful in being able to rest and get up in the day and do it again.
If you can also get a pet. They're really good at listening, at cuddling. And so when you need that hug and nobody's around to give it to you, you just grab your dog and there's nothing they can do about it. So just have some outlets out there. That really helps as well.
I really like that. I mean, I at SHIP have really found a community, so I definitely understand that. Next question. What would you like to see be done differently at SU or in your industry for women in STEM?
Stop looking at boxes. It always annoys me when they try to put me in a box for whatever reason. It's just me. Just look what are my qualifications. Do not try to put whatever boxes you think in your head. Just listen and see if I'm actually good at what I'm doing. That's all I'm asking. Just equal opportunity like you would give to any other male colleague that would show up. So just because I'm a female, don't judge me based on that. Judge me on the fact that I'm an engineer. So that's, I think, what I would go with.
I think in biology, correct me if I'm wrong, but in biology, we have quite a bit of women, right? So we sort of lucky in that sense. But what we don't have women of color. So what I would like to see in the fields are programs, and I know that some of it exists, that will bolster the young women of color to join our ranks. And for instance, where does that start? It starts at the K through 12 level, but then when they get to college, right, we try to recruit them, but when they come here, we don't have the infrastructure to support them. So what I would like to see is that when we were talking to Burnell earlier, and he also mentioned that, it's to make sure that they don't just come, but when they come, we actually have a structure to support them. And what does that look like? The Multicultural Center is a good one, having space for the student to gather, right? So that, like my sister, for instance, we were at Stanford together, and she adamantly wanted to be in the black dorm, because there's a dorm that is presumably the black dorm, because she was exhausted of having to explain why she needed to put a lot of cream in her hair. And for whatever reason, that little thing just upset her so much that she needed to be in the black dorm. And she was a computer scientist. She's a computer scientist, and it took such a toll on her, she had to take a quarter off, because she just couldn't handle being the only one. She couldn't handle all of that stress. And so just having that space for them to be able to be also will make a difference. And then one other thing I was thinking about, have developed formal mentor programs, right? So we try to do it with the black student, but I think it's still work in progress here at SEU. But have formal mentoring program where when a student can be matched with a faculty, and it doesn't have to be a faculty of color, right, if the student is a student of color, but it will help also if our non-faculty of color can understand those students and help us with the advising and mentoring of the student of color, because we cannot do it all by ourselves. So anyway, those are just ideas that I have on how to maybe retain our students when they get here.
Yeah, I think that this is such a complex question too. There's so many things that we could be thinking about doing. I think I promise, I'm not a plant for Santa Clara, but when I got here, I would expect again to be yelling more, and I'm not. And I think one of the things that needs to be improved about in the field is making sure that the folks that are within feel supported and heard. And when all of the grant money is really important for tenure track faculty to grab, and then all of the NSF, which is the organization I would apply for, National Science Foundation, has a lot of education, biology, STEM education, research grants that used to support all kinds of different marginalized communities. And so when all of that has been gutted, I think my first reaction was to start yelling. But before I could really get the words out, we were already meeting with our dean. Daniel sat down and talked to us, and it felt good. It felt like I didn't have to yell. So having more of the people that are able to make decisions support you, and it keeps you able to do this for longer, and it's quite amazing. But I think long-term looking at this is, how do we change our curriculum to make sure that we are talking about all the problematic aspects of STEM, so that we are teaching the future generations that both historical and current day oppressions exist, so that they don't replicate them when they go out into their fields, right? This is our job as educators to do, and it's students' jobs to learn about these things and to not perpetuate them. And how do we allow for instructors who feel uncomfortable teaching these topics, because our society tells us these are off limits to talk about? How do we support them in embedding this sort of curriculum into their classrooms? And so I think there's a lot of those types of things we could be doing to change as well.
Last question. How can SU better support women students, faculty, and staff in STEM moving forward?
start briefly. I think just continuing to have these conversations, continuing to have other difficult conversations, speak up when there's things that you notice that you want to be changed. And if you're feeling isolated, there's people here for you as well. And to continue funding and supporting the clubs that make everyone feel like they have their community here on campus, and let them be heard.
And I think when we say listen, I think it also implies act, right? So it's one thing to listen to somebody and then go home and then that's it. But I think when student talk, student women or women of color, whatever, when they express their frustrations or when they have ideas and you said, oh yeah, okay, you should work with them to try to implement those ideas. And I know that there are a lot of students who are frustrated with how some of the things are over here, but I think it's not just, oh, we hear you, like de Gaulle said to the French colonies, I hear you, and then nothing. It's just hear them and then work with them to try to implement those. And I'll say also, hire more women in engineering or in computer science because representation matters. I have a student who came to me and is like, oh, you're the first black professor I've ever had in my life, and that makes such a big difference for me when I'm in your class. We don't realize how much it means to them, but it does mean a lot to them. So like, they may not drop the class just because they're comfortable coming and talking to you. They may try to work much harder just because they know you there and you're gonna support them, right? And so hiring more women so that they have our young women have more women mentor to help them go through it, I think will also help. So yeah, we need a women workforce.
Yeah, we have the leaky pipeline, I think it's called. Like, we can probably get a bit more undergrad that they are women, and then it's even less in the graduate, and then it's even less at the PhD level, and then it becomes even less when we're talking about faculty. Actually, when I started, we were almost half-half, but now we are not anymore. We are, we need to fix this at some point. But some of them maybe. No, but I think that's the point. Like, I think one shop I came and asked me, like, oh, why all the female students are joining your section for logic design? It was exactly because of that reason, because they prefer to have the female professor being there, because they knew that if something happened, I usually talk. I don't care. I remember I had one assignment that was going on, and there was a female student and a male student working together. And the female student she was actually really good in the class, but the male student didn't know that. So he was trying to convince her that the method of how they were solving something, she was actually wrong and he was the correct. And then I'm looking at both solutions, and I look at her and say, you know what? If I were you, I would listen to her, because her solution is the correct one. And that, I think, was the first time that, it was a moment for him to like, oh, I actually should have listened to what she was saying, which I think is interesting. So I usually pay attention to these things, so I usually call out situations like that because, sometimes students do that without even knowing. A lot of times we have bias we don't even know, right? But if we start recognize them, that's the way that actually we can move forward. Without actually, so if you see something wrong, you can say it. And that's the whole point. Otherwise, the world will not change. It will be exactly the same things. They will happen exactly the same way as they are always happening. So if we don't start speaking up, I don't think we will have a future.
This isn't Santa Clara specific, but I think in STEM, we like to pretend, maybe not in this room, but that we are objective and that we have no biases, and that when we walk into our classrooms or our research, somehow they all eject out of our body and we become robots that are really good at doing whatever we're doing. The research for decades, if not longer, has shown us that this is not true. And so I think the ways that we can center our students, the ways that we can acknowledge our identities and our experiences, the ways that we can, again, shape our curriculum to reflect our understandings of the field, talk about these historical and current day problems, like brainstorming solutions with students. I do this all the time. Students are often wildly innovative in ways that I would have never thought of. It's amazing. But right, so addressing this whole human, which is a whole thing at Santa Clara. It's like a part of the Jesuit tradition. Yeah, I'm learning. Right. Oh, yes, this, yeah. It's like week 18 for me, so thank you for your patience. And so I think that learning that objectivity, I don't even think it's something we want to aspire to. I think that we leave a lot of our humanity behind in doing that. And so making STEM human again, human-centric, like is so important to keeping all kinds of diverse humans in STEM and also changing STEM. Like we were just talking at our table about being included into what? I don't want to be included into something that is toxic. So what are we doing to change that culture, to make it something brand new that's good for everyone?
And even the way things are funded, right? It's like I used to work on urinary tract infection, which is predominantly a woman disease, right? But then the funding it was funded, but not as much until they realized that men also get UTIs. And then all of a sudden, the money started flowing a bit more. So, having women coming into STEM, maybe the issues that affect women will also be researched and worked on. So it's not just about, doing research. It's about also the type of research that is being done, who is benefiting from that research and things like that. And so, we need young women so they can solve the problems of women. I mean, uterus is also an organ.
Thank you for such a meaningful conversation. Now is the time for each of our panelists' closing statements. So, Dr. I mean, if you guys have anything else
it's
to
okay.
say.
I can put the people that they came to listen to me on the spot. So I would like to thank Shoba for coming, Aaron for coming to support me. These are my support group. Sally, Vito, and Ruth, thank you so much for coming. That's my closing.
There's a lot of room in STEM for all of us, men, women, non-binary. And I think a lot of the barriers that are placed are human-made, so they can also be human-destroyed, right? And so the only thing I have to say is that, yes, there are challenges in STEM. Yes, I've faced some of it, but I don't think I can do anything else with my life. So there's still a lot of joy in STEM for me, and I'm not gonna let the structural, whatever randomness or the evil that exists in these halls take that away from me. So if it's STEM that you want to do, if you want to be in science, if you want to be an engineer, don't let anybody tell you no. You're the one, if you have to say no, it has to come from yourself. And so go out there, be yourself, do your STEM, do your science, do your engineering, and make the world a better place. That's all I've got.
I don't have much, but I really resonated with what Pascal just said. Just like that, don't let anybody let you down, including your own self-doubt. And you belong here. There's space for you, and if there's not, then you have the strength to make your own space. I just want to thank everyone for having me here, and thank Santa Clara for all the support that it's given me and how it's allowed me to find my space and make myself be heard and be really happy and feel like I belong.
Yeah, I don't know if I have anything powerful, but I think that for those that are fighting every day in some way or another, know that it does get better. It's hard a lot of times. It's hard to find community. It's hard to keep going, and there's always going to be ups and downs. But I think that don't be scared to pivot. That's my motto of my life. And so if something isn't serving you any well, don't do it. It's not worth it. Don't quit if you don't want to quit. But yeah, absolutely move away from things that are toxic from you. Create that space. If you need to, seek out that community. But life is really short, and it's not worth it to be doing something that harms yourself over and over again. So just have the strength to make the best decision for yourself, and don't listen to other people if you know that doesn't serve you.
Thank you so much. Please, another round of applause for our panelists. We really do appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedules to join us. Thank you all for sharing your perspectives, stories, and helping us further the conversation on such an important issue during such a critical time in our history, and helping us move our SU community forward in a positive direction and vision and goals. So thank you.